Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about CD Projekt Red. Says that Cyberpunk 2077 launched wasn't that bad, but it became a cool thing not to like it. So we'll talk about that article. We're going to go over Sony confidential documents, secrets just spilled because of a Sharpie that they used, but they redacted, but they already uploaded them on the thing, and now they're all over the web so people know what it is. So we'll be talking about that as well, and any other conversation that happens afterwards. Good morning, Super Dave. What's going on, Kylo? Dave Rose. What's going on, Sarge? What's going on? So that's on the docket today. If you like this, please make sure you hit that like button. It helps us out here. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. If you like these talks, what we do, we just kind of casually read the news and have conversations in chat with live chat Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till about noon Eastern. All right, so let's start it off here. CD Projekt Red insists that Cyberpunk 2077 launch wasn't that bad, but it became a cool thing not to like it. So cool not to like the video game because it was broke, buggy, unfinished, and it was a bad when it came out. Okay, so it says almost 3 years after the initial release of CD Projekt Red's VP PR, Communication thinks players were too harsh on Cyberpunk 2077 around launch, claiming that it became a cool thing not to like it. So they sat down with Game Industry Biz and about Cyberpunk's launch, and woes and developers of the journey reflected on its mistakes. Much of the major base game overhauls due to the release alongside upcoming DLC's Phantom's Liberty. I was personally not happy with how things turned out, said Placo of Cyberpunk initially reception. It was not expecting that. I knew immediately that we had to come back. I liked spot we were in before we launched. I'm not talking about the peak of hype, but 2 years before that. We had our community, we liked them, and they liked us, and it was awesome to work at CD Projekt Red. Yeah, it's called goodwill. Made a good game, loved your game, and then CD Projekt Red released Cyberpunk 2077, and it wasn't good when it came out. It was broke, unfinished, under-promised. All the stuff that they said that were going to be in the game wasn't in the game, and they slowly fixed it over the next couple years. Despite generally favorable media previews and a score of 86 on Metacritic, including our own 72% review by Cyberpunk 2077, the weeks after its December 2020 launch would prove disastrous for CD Projekt Red. Most of us on the PC got easier go on things compared to our last-gen console pals who face a bunch of problems, game-breaking bugs, and performance issues. It was still pretty tragic all around, though. CD Projekt felt that the full force of the fan base, whose intense hype had gone far beyond what the game could have delivered. Refunds were issued, PlayStation Store listings were taken down, and things weren't looking great for the once reserved developer. Like, that's the thing, right? To say that it was the cool thing not to like, right, Cyberpunk, PlayStation literally took it off the store. So was PlayStation just being like, it's the cool thing to do. We're just going to take it off. We don't want to make money off of this game, right? So he says it's surprising then that he thinks people were down on the game a little too much. Actually, he believes that Cyberpunk on launch was way better than it was received. And even in the first reviews were positive, he said. Then it became a cool thing not to like it. We went from hero to zero pretty fast, and that was the tough moment. We didn't know what was happening. You guys remember that they couldn't capture footage, right? The people that did the reviews couldn't talk about it early. They had to wait for the game to come out. Okay. Despite the rather fierce criticism, Plazo says the team remained confident in its creation. We knew that the game was great, and yes, we can prove it. Yes, we need to take the time to do it, and we need to rebuild some stuff. That took a lot of time, but I don't believe that we were ever broken. We were always like, let's do this. Phantom Liberty will most likely certainly serve as evidence of the hard work CD Projekt Red has undertaken over the last few years to clean up the mess parts of Night City. Morgan Park had a chance to check out the DLC at Summer Game Fest and seemed pretty receptive to where the game is at. Based only on what they actually played, Phantom Liberty is so far a second helping of Cyberpunk 2077. If it were still in 2021, that would have been a hard sell for me. But last year's Edge Runners update smoothed over some of the game's worst problems and let the best quality shine. And the characters' guns, cars, and unbelievably pretty city in Phantom Liberty update does the same. Hopefully, it'll be expansive send-off Blood Wine and was also on Witcher 3. So, yeah, great. Phantom Liberty's coming out, and I'm sure it's going to get great reviews, and I'm sure, hopefully, for them, they've learned their lesson, right? And I think this is the major part here. They were the ones that came out and said that we're not releasing a game that's unfinished like the other guys. They were taking shots at other guys. They were taking shots at Fallout 76. They were taking shots at other games that came out before them. And they're like, we're not going to do that. And then they 100% did the exact same thing, right? So much so that PlayStation was like, we're taking this off the store. There was huge major issues with this game. And I said way, way, way before the game even launched, I said, do not buy this on the old gen consoles because it's not going to run. And miraculously, I don't know how it worked, but it didn't work, right? It didn't work. They launched it and shot themselves in the foot by releasing the last gen console. They took so long to make the game that it was supposed to really launch on the last gen console that they pushed themselves out of the last gen console and made it work for the new gen, and it was still broke and buggy when it came out. And now the sheer, I don't know, hubris of him saying that it wasn't that bad, just a cool thing to hate it, is just so dumb by the guy saying that. Right? Now, here we are years later, and Phantom Liberty's coming out, and when it comes out, I'm sure it's going to be hopefully smooth because they've learned their lesson. But to look back on the launch and say that, no, people just hate it. Let's be honest here. It doesn't really matter if people hated it or not. They sold 8 million copies pre-order. Most game companies don't even sell 8 million copies total once it's out on the market. They sold 8 million before it even came out, and then sold an additional 5 million after everyone knew it was broke, which is mind-blowing. Okay? So they sold like 12 to 13 million copies of this game when it was at its worst state. Okay? So let's be honest here. Does CD Projekt Red actually care? Sure, their stocks and stuff are down, but they sold 13 million copies at $60 a pop, 70, 80, 90, whatever the special editions were. They're okay. We're going to go over another thing later, that games take a lot of money to make, but they also make a crap ton of money over time, right? And we'll put it in perspective of why the game industry is shifting towards live service games, because they make money hand over fist year over year all the time. Okay? So, what do you guys think? Obviously, if you like CD Projekt Red, you're probably a fan of Cyberpunk 2077, and now looking back on it, going, well, it's a great game. But when it came out, unless you were on PC and you had a good graphics card at the time, okay, you had really no issues. It's everybody else that got it that had problems. Sarge says, the new Flash, Jim Ryan, is a liar to himself. Incredible. Oh, Newsflash. I thought you said new Flash. New Armored Core 6 gameplay just dropped. Haven't watched it yet. Just came out 4 minutes ago. We can maybe watch it at the end. We'll watch it at the end. Based on Cyberpunk Good Now for Netflix series and ungrave them back to life. Oh yeah, the Netflix series did wonders for the game to bring it back. Just like the Witcher show brought people to go back and buy Witcher 3, right? Right, they get paid release, broken game, and we accept it. Yeah. And here it is, 3 years later, Sarge. It was just the cool thing to hate it. Meaning, that's really like a push-off of going, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad. It was just the cool thing to say it was that bad. That's mind-blowing to me. That's mind-blowing to me. But you know what? When you make over $1 billion before you even sell the goddamn thing, before it even comes out on day one, you know? Come on, Stealth. I think that's funny. The next thing I want to talk about is Sony's confidential, this will probably take a little longer conversation to have. Sony's confidential PlayStation secrets just spilled because of a Sharpie. The Black Sharpie strikes again and reveals Sony Call of Duty revenue secrets. Okay. Sony's highly confidential information about PlayStation business has just been revealed by mistake as part of the FTC versus Microsoft hearing. Sony supplied documents from PlayStation chief Jim Ryan to include redacted details on the margins of Sony's shares with publishers, its Call of Duty revenue, and even the cost of developers some of its games. It looks like someone redacted the documents with a black Sharpie, but when you scan them in, it's easy to see some of the redactions. Oops. Now, the court has scrambled to remove the documents, but the damage is already done. Reporters in Sony's competition have already downloaded all the documents while we were public domain, among other things, and the documents show that Horizon Forbidden West apparently cost $212 million over 5 years with 300 employees, and The Last of Us 2 cost $220 million with around 200 employees. Let's do quick math, shall we? Quick math with 30. Okay, quick math with 30. Let's take that 212, right? 212 million. 212 million divided by 300. That's $706,000 basically, and we'll divide that by 5. So every year each employee made about $141,000. Let's see, 300. That's $42 million a year. $42.4 million a year times times 5. So the entire staff got $42 million, right? The 300 employees, every year they got their pay, which was well over $100,000. Okay. So let's break this down now. People work at a company. They have a budget. They take that budget and they pay the employees, the devs, the people that you say that you want to support the devs and make their money. The dev works there. They make their money. Every year they get a paycheck. They get a salary, a bonus, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, thanks for working. Next year, same thing for 5 years. Then it comes out. And the total budget, this is not without marketing. This is just the budget of the game, $212 million over 5 years. Now, let's take the Game Pass method here. That's $212 million for one game over 5 years. Game Pass has 25 million, subscribers, maybe 30 million subscribers. That's $250 to $300 million a month. And now they can take that $250 or $300 million, and every month they can open up a brand new studio, okay, and make a game like Horizon Forbidden West or Last of Us Part 2, okay? Every single month, they have a budget for the next 5 years just based on Game Pass sales. Are you guys catching on what the difference is between Sony's plan of making a game for 5 years and Microsoft charging $10 for Game Pass every month for the next 5 years? Right? But didn't they average $100,000 per employee? Executives got $70,000, workers split the other $30,000. Whatever it is, Brain, they still get paid. They still get money. They still took the job. They're still getting paid, right? They're not making more money. The devs are not making more money because of microtransactions. They're still getting their paid salaries, regardless if there's microtransactions or not, right? They have other people come in to make microtransactions. So it says here, developing and producing a AAA game often costs over $100 million, requires hundreds or thousands of developers, and takes years. For instance, developer of Horizon Forbidden West 2022, Sony Entertainment, first-party release, last a total of blank 5 years, starting at 2012 and ended in, 2014 or 17, and ending in 2022. The game cost $212 million to develop. The peak headcount was over 200 or 300 full-time employees. Develop of Last of Us Part 2 in 2020, first-party release, took over 70 months and started 2014 and ended in 2020. Develop cost around $220 million. The headcount peaked around 220 full-time employees. No, what was the 200 employees. 200 employees, full-time employees. In addition of development costs, global market costs for AAA games are large and even established franchises. This is not how much games cost to make games have been revealed here. Either Sony says 1 million PlayStation gamers played nothing but Call of Duty. This is crazy. Listen to these stats, right? Sony says that 1 million PlayStation gamers played nothing but Call of Duty. My colleague, Sean Holster, has also analyzed the document, and it appears to show that in 2021, over 14 million users by device spent 30% or more of their time playing Call of Duty. Over 6 million users spent more than 70% of their time on Call of Duty, and about 1 million users spent 100% of their gaming time on Call of Duty. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. Let me read those numbers again. Over 14 million users by devices spent 30%, right? 30% of their time playing Call of Duty on PlayStation. Over 6 million users spent more than 70% of their time on Call of Duty, and about 1 million users spent 100% of their gaming time on Call of Duty. So basically, PlayStation is a Call of Duty machine. 14 million spent 30%, 6 million 70%, and 1 million 100% of their time. That's crazy numbers. Okay. Call of Duty, it says in 2021, Call of Duty players spent an average of 116 hours per year. 116 hours per year playing Call of Duty. Call of Duty players spending more than 70% of their time in Call of Duty spent an average of 296 hours on the franchise. Okay. Impressive. Right? That's impressive. Sony supplied the information in an attempt to show that its revenues would be heavily impacted if Call of Duty was an Xbox exclusive, which I don't know how many times they've said it. Said it wouldn't be an Xbox exclusive. In multiple filings to the regulators, Sony has maintained that it fears that Microsoft could make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox or even sabotage PlayStation's version of the game. Now let's break this down. If they sign the next 10-year contract, let's just say PlayStation says, okay, we're going to sign the contract. We are in now with NVIDIA and Booster and Nintendo and now Sony. Everyone has the same 10-year contract. Sony has now 10 years to make something to compete with Call of Duty. They have 10 years to make a game to compete with Call of Duty. Do we think Call of Duty, at this point, is going to be the big conglomerate business as it is 10 years from now? It's highly unlikely to say that it's going to last another 10 years at the state that it's as right now. Now, another thing is, it says even sabotage PlayStation's version. Sony itself, and I know this is going to sound contradictory, does it to themselves because they've already said in another document that they are not going to share the trade secrets for their next PlayStation 6, right? Because they don't want to give the technology over. Cool. So because Call of Duty is now, if it gets taken over by Microsoft, is no longer a third-party site, no third-party game, they will no longer share the dev kit for the next PlayStation to make it. So the last game for Call of Duty that's going to be an advantage or work well on PlayStation is the next one that comes out. After that, the contract's over. They have to sign a new contract, which Jim Ryan wasn't happy with because he doesn't really want the deal to go through. He wants to block the deal because Call of Duty does make a lot of money for them. And if Call of Duty goes to Microsoft, it goes to their competitor. And they don't want to share their secrets of what they have planned for Sony to their competitor. So this is why there's a problem, right? But to say that Xbox is sabotaging PlayStation, I think PlayStation is sabotaging the PlayStation themselves because obviously they don't want to share, and it's understandable, okay? But to say that they're going to sabotage us because we want on the PlayStation, they're going to make a worse version, that's correct. They are going to make a worse version because you do not want to share the dev kit for the next Call of Duty game if they own it, right? Which is, again, understandable, okay? But to say that Xbox is going to sabotage us, they have to word it in a way, well, we're going to be at a disadvantage because now that our competitors own Call of Duty, we have things that we don't want to share with them now. Instead of saying Xbox is going to sabotage us for a worse version. Okay. I continue here and says, as we may have inkingly that the revenue impact because Sony also accidentally revealed how much money Call of Duty is worth to PlayStation, we already knew that the figure was over $1 billion. Of course. But the document suggests that Call of Duty is worth $800 million for PlayStation revenue in just the U.S. during 2021. And we think the document says 1.5 billion globally, and that's just the game alone. But when you count the accessories, subscriptions, and everything else that jumps into it, what appears into your eyes is to be about $15.9 billion a year, or perhaps $13.9 billion. Either way, that's a huge amount. Okay. In the document, says in addition to harm to consumer who would no longer have the option to playing Activision games on their console of choice, the potential implications of Sony Entertainment and the competitiveness, okay, are as noted since 2019. Call of Duty has been played over blank time in the United States alone and over blank worldwide. In 2021, Call of Duty directly generated over blank 800 million in the United States, spending Sony Entertainment, and 15.9 billion worldwide spending, or I'm sorry, 1.5 billion in worldwide spending. Further, the PlayStation users and the play of Call of Duty generate an average annual platform spending of around 15.9 billion worldwide from 2019 to 2021, accounting for the spending on the hardware, accessories, subscription, games, and other PlayStation services. As Call of Duty players leave PlayStation for Xbox, PlayStation for Xbox, much of this spending on hardware, subscription services, and other games would be lost. Okay. Now that's a big chunk of change, right? $15.9 billion. Again, if you look at what Horizon cost them, it cost $220 million. Or I'm sorry, that was Last of Us. Last of Us cost $220 million. Horizon cost $212 million, right? These are blowing up big time. So why is Sony switching to live service games? Why did they spend that billions of dollars buying Bungie to help them with live service games? Because live service games, right, make buku bucks, right? Buku bucks. Let me go what you guys are saying in chat here. Couldn't even imagine only playing COD. Yeah, right? Bungie, get on it. I can't believe Sony is a Japanese company and they're embracing the woke virtual signaling of American companies. Vanguard is COD's 2021 game and trash, right? So let's go back to the document. How much does Sony share with third-party publishers like Activision? This one's fuzzy enough. We can't confidentially translate it, but typical merge or margin looks like it might be about 10%. See below. By a third-party publisher, the first-party and second-party games, Sony Entertainment typically retains the full sales price of the game. In a fiscal year ending in March 31st of 2022, the first-party games accounted for, and I don't know that, I think it's 14% of total game units sold. On the third-party games, the amount of Sony Entertainment typically receives would be the margin between the retail price that Sony charges on the PlayStation Store and the wholesale price negotiated with publishers. Typically, the margin is around, and I can't make that out. Is that 30%? It looks like it's 30%. It says, does the first bit say 14% on PlayStation games sold are Sony's own first-party title games? And they're not quite sure. But comparing to other numbers in the document, it looks like a 1 and a 4 on that document. It says the document also reveals that Sony only has one more Call of Duty game as part of the exclusive marketing deal with Activision. The last game covered by the contract of Call of Duty title to be released in late 2023 reads part of the document as Jim Ryan was properly redacted. Okay. Sony also says around half of PlayStation 5 owners also have a Nintendo Switch. What? That can't be. I thought PlayStation 5 Sony ponies only had PlayStation 5. There's no way they can own both systems. That's amazing. So now we know only half of the PlayStations are Sony ponies. Okay? So that's it's a smaller field. Okay. Microsoft has continuously been arguing over whether Switch is a competitor to Xbox and PlayStation during the hearing, and Sony's data is even clear evidence of the makeup of console ownership in the US. According to Sony Entertainment internal surveys, almost half of PlayStation 5 owners in the United States also own a Nintendo Switch, while less than 20% of PlayStation 5 owners in the United States also own an Xbox Series X or S. What? 20% owned the competitor's box? Shocking. Sony isn't the only one affected by the document redacted issues. Although this confidential Microsoft document revealed all the company's Xbox acquisition targets earlier this week, it now documents has been replaced with heavily redacted versions. That's one wasn't redacted with a Sharpie though. Okay. Update, as of 6:28 p.m., we originally wrote that Sony failed to properly redact this information, but it's not clear who performed the redaction. Sony is not the party to the case and repeatedly asked the courts to seal and redact portions of the material. So there you go. There's some interesting stuff there. So we can assume, again, we're assuming here, but all first-party titles, God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon, Last of Us, they all cost around $200 million. Right? They all cost around $200 million, and they need to recoup a lot of stuff. So obviously, Horizon Forbidden West sold 8 million copies, so they're good. And if we break it down to the fact of, I'm going to do a loose comparison because I don't know the breakdown because I don't work in the video game industry. I work in the film industry. And if a movie costs $200 million, it needs to make about 2.5 times what they spent because of advertisement, marketing, and the different cuts and stuff they get. So if it's a $200 million budget movie, it needs to make around $550 to $600 million, okay, to make money back, right? So obviously, if it took $200 million to make Horizon Forbidden West and sold 8 million copies, it's made enough money where it's, you know, if it sold 8 million copies, what is that? That's it's made about $200 million to $400 million profit. Now, this is the breakdown, right? This is why Sony's switching to live service games. This is why they're switching and what Game Pass is doing. So if I have to work on a game for 5 years, first party title, 5 years, and it costs me $200, $220, $212 million, and I got to wait 5 years for that money to come back, and then it makes money, or maybe it doesn't make money, right? It could be, but their first party titles make money. They're making an additional $200 to $400, maybe $600 million, but they have to wait 5 years. In the amount of time that Game Pass is out, they have to wait 3 months. 3 months to make the exact same amount of money as Horizon Forbidden West profit-wise. Now, obviously, I understand that Game Pass also they have to pay stuff as well. So it might be 4 or 5 months to make. But do you see the difference between making a $200 million game and then waiting 5 years for the profit to come back to then recoup and then throw back into another game, another franchise, another IP, or whatever it is? They know within the first month of release that they're like, yep, we're going to make our money. All right, let's boot it up. What do we need to make it for the first year? Well, it cost us $42 million to make the last game with 300 employees for the first year. Okay, cool. So let's give them a bump. Let's give them a raise of $2 a piece, blah, 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 $5 a piece, an extra $5,000, extra $10,000. It's going to cost us $52 million a year now to make this game over the next day. So now it goes from $212 million to $250 million for the next project of the game. This is the problem that we talked about with the developer. I forget what game he was working on, but he said that these AAA games are going to run into a wall because they can't go any higher. They're going to cost too much, and then they're going to suck into the content. If they make a $300 million game, okay, they're going to have to sell 10, 15, 20 million copies, and not very many games do that. Lifetime, right? You got your Grand Theft Autos, you got your Halos back in the day. I don't even think Halo even did it, right? You got your Call of Duties, right? Not a lot of games can sell 15, 20, 30 million copies lifetime. Skyrim did, but how many times did they put it out, right? Grand Theft Auto did, Red Dead Redemption did, Spider-Man did, okay? But you can't always have those. And that's the problem. So you look at the business structure. Game Pass is making a Horizon Forbidden West or a Last of Us budget every single month that it's out. That's 12 Horizon Forbidden Wests on Game Pass every year in money that they're bringing in, where Horizon Forbidden West first-party title has to wait 5 years. One game, maybe per console, maybe two, if it's out for 10 years. If PlayStation 6 comes out 7 years from now, okay, you might get another Horizon game on this console, right? And then the next console comes out. So you can see the change in what Sony's trying to do. They're trying to shimmy over to the live service game because they need that influx. They're trying to maybe make multiple games to compete with Call of Duty. So if they can't get that percent that they had for Call of Duty, which is insane, the amount of people, 1 million people play 70% or 100% of the time, like that's nuts, right? That's nuts. There's 38 million units out there, or 40 million units out there, and 1 million of those people are just playing Call of Duty. They play nothing else but Call of Duty. Right? That's shocking. That's shocking. So I find it great that they've actually, by accident, put out this thing. So here's some more information. It says the game sold 8.4 million copies a year, and 2 months later, let's say that they sold $50 average. That would mean $420 million in revenue, and everything from here is only a plus. Okay. He says the OFC, hard to do the math, game is also sold as part of the PlayStation 5 bundle and mostly at a higher price, probably, but still think that they can safely say that the game made a healthy profit, hence why Sony kept expanding the franchise. Of course, it made a profit, right? 8.4 million, right? At full price. How much was Horizon Forbidden West? Was it $70? Was it $70? See. 8.4 million times $70. Okay. That's $588 billion. Okay. They made a profit. If it cost them, right, minus the 220 million. They got 368 million. And let's say they put out about another maybe $100 million in budgeting, like for marketing. They made like 168 million. $200 million. Unless you bought the collector's edition, right? Give or take, right? Give or take, right? So they made about $250 million. You bought the $90 deluxe one, right? So think about that, right? A movie takes 6 months to make, comes out within a year. They recoup their money faster in movies. Video games takes 3 to 5 years. Games take 5 to 8 years. Right? So when you're blowing up the budget to a certain extent, this game can't get any higher, right? Let's look up some information here. What do they even say? Horizon. Let's see. Horizon. What was the first game called? Horizon Zero Dawn? Horizon Zero Dawn. Forbidden West sold. Called the Mountain has sold through more than 32. Okay. Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West, and Horizon Call of the Mountain has sold through more than 32.7 million units. Okay, so we know that Horizon Forbidden West, so 32.7 minus 8.4, so there's 24.3 million units sold. There's 32.7 million units sold entirely for the whole franchise so far. Okay, so 24.3 million, give or take. I don't know how much. It says the game won numerous awards and sold over 20 million copies. So we'll say it sold 24.3, right? 24.3 million or 20 million, whatever it is. Okay. Now, obviously, the average person, when they sold it, I don't know if it was full price or not. I'll give them full price. Right? And it was at $60. Right? That's 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion. And when did Horizon Zero Dawn come out originally? 2017? Right? 2017? Sure, Titan. They could definitely make, and this is why they're making a series. When you find a series like this, right, you want to keep going it. So in 2017 till now, that game has made over 1.2 billion. Plus Horizon Forbidden West as of right now. Now the player base, the game is Forbidden West on PlayStation 4 as well. It's on both systems, right? PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. So let's just say it goes on and sells the exact same as the first one, right? They'll make a total profit or a total sales around 40 million copies sold. Okay, that's good. In the long run, they're still making money, and they're re-putting that in for Horizon into that franchise of Horizon. Okay, but again, to recoup that, they had to wait from 2017 to now to make that. A great franchise. Love the series. Forbidden West, my game of the year. It came out. I still have to play the first and second one. I'm gonna wait. I have the first one, never played it yet. The sheer amount of money it takes, though. So now let's take that same exact game. Let's say the third one comes out and it costs 300 million, right? 250 million, 270 million, right? How much more can you go? Because the more you make, the diminishing returns you get. Okay, a lot more games that come out, people get tired of it, or they don't want to spend as much unless you hit that moment. Hence why aren't they trying to do a Horizon MMO? Didn't I hear rumors about them trying to do like an MMO of that game? Wait for a remake? Well, I already own the game. I already own the other one, so I hit level 55 in D4 and I'm bored. Well, Stealth, I think you're bored of the game because of the information that you know about it now with the season, right? There's really no reason to level up your character any more than 55, right? Not an MMO, but an online service game. Yes, there you go. Okay, so it's not an MMO, but what's the live service aspect of it? Let me look it up. Let me look it up. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Horizon live service. Horizon Online. Let's see. Back in December 2022, Horizon online multiplayer game confirmed by Guerrilla Games. Guerrilla appears to be setting to continue expanding the world and established with Horizon games in PS4 and PS5. Currently expanding the established and popular action adventure game, Horizon players will get to enjoy the online adventures, all within the familiar universe seen as Forbidden West. The Horizon franchise dates back to 2017. Horizon Zero Dawn released on PlayStation 4. Coming for future plans for Horizon franchise include multiple projects, including a new employee drive. The company shared a Twitter. The company indicated that the new internal team, Amsterdam developer, in the Horizon universe that will include a new cast of characters and unique style look. Listing reference of single-player content likely refers to Horizon Forbidden West DLC and explores... Okay. Sony is betting big on Horizon franchise as it plans software for PlayStation 5 and related hardware, and recently confirmed that Burning Shores DLC will skip PlayStation 4 version in Horizon Forbidden West. And it's also is prepping Horizon Call the Mountain to serve as a launch of the PlayStation VR, even though the Horizon Forbidden West ultimately failed to win any awards of the Game Awards. Who cares about that? Details are understandably scarce when it comes to the structure of the online focus Horizon might imply, though. One possibility is an online Horizon could borrow elements from Death Stranding. And then again, Grill might also well decide to let players raid the wilds together online title, but consider implementing online in all but inevitable third installment of the IP's flagship service as possibility of virtual endless as passive performance. So it doesn't really say. Could be an MMO, could be a live service game, could be like a Destiny. Well, I guess like a Destiny or a Division, right? Like a Division where you play 1, 2, 3, or 4 players go on missions together and stuff like that. It could be possibly like that. But the point is stands that they're trying to make it a online service game, because if they can put $100 million into a game and build that game up, like if it takes them 2 to 3 years to make that game, they put it out there for a live service, then fix it over time, like all these other live service games, then making the sales that they do, putting a game out there for 5 years, waiting for it to make 200 or $400 million profit after that time, it would make sense for them to take that kind of franchise and turn it into a live service game. Did everyone get their PlayStation 5 LeBron James limited edition controller this morning? I think you did. Give me a second. I got someone at the door. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. Sorry about that, guys. We had pest control guy come out. I might have to walk away a second again. But all right, let me see what you guys are saying. Did everyone get their PlayStation 5? LeBron, I already read that. Almost want the PlayStation 5, just Forbidden West. Really good. So we're going over the NHL draft after this, right? No, we're not. TV series is on the way from Sony and Netflix. Hope they don't F it up. I don't think they'll F it up. I think it'll be fine. Is Lono's pony showing again? What did Crowded say? He's upset. You should confront him. What is he upset about? What is he upset about? What does he need confronting about? I'm sure he's fine. So many good stories and lore cover the series. Yeah, I think I don't think there's any hate, but the only hate I think Horizon got was that they made her uglier in the next game. I think that was the only argument I saw. That and the hair flipping in the second game. It's live action. CGI robots will be expensive. Wait, they're doing live action, not a cartoon? Don't tell me they're doing live action. Just do an animated series. They're gonna put money into it. I want live action. No, don't do live action. Oh, Comfort. Gotcha. He's upset about the Microsoft trial again. I mean, okay. I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm sure he'll be fine. Let's see. We got a Bobby Kotick thing here, or Kotick. I always say Kotick. 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 Yes, it will be a live action. Man, that sounds expensive. That sounds expensive. Who's fronting that bill? Sony or Netflix? Uncharted, Last of Us, Twisted Metal, all live action. Be interested to see how they all turn out. Here's the reason I think they do live action over animated. Animated takes a really long time to make. For live action, takes a lot shorter to make. Now, obviously, all based on the CGI and whatnot. But if they're doing practical effects for certain shows, right, compared to the CGI like Horizon would be. Now, if they do a lot of stuff in the show, sort of like The Witcher or whatnot, if they do a lot of the dinosaurs and animals in Horizon where they're not in scenes with other people, then it'll be easier to do. But other than that, I could see them shooting Horizon. I take it back. I could see them shooting Horizon without doing a lot of CGI with the animals and whatnot. There's not going to be a line, Stealth. There's going to be no line. No line for Indiana Jones. If there's a line, you take a picture and you post it in the Discord, but I don't think there's going to be a line. I'll be very surprised if your cinema is sold out. Hold on a second. My dog is freaking out now. My dog, if you could see him, he's Thor, come here. Come here. He's so nervous. You could just see him at the he's so nervous because the pest control guy is outside. He's freaking out. His job is to protect the house, and right now he can't protect the house, so he's like, gotta go outside and kill this guy. Oh, thanks, Kylo. Yeah, he's a big guy. Right, Thor? Here, look. Right, Thor? Thor, come over. Look at me. Thor. Look at it. He's giving me the side eye. He's like, no, you put me in this room. Let's see what you guys say. Crowd, have you seen the live action One Piece trailer? Which one? A line at the concession stand, maybe. Yeah, no, there'll be a line at the concession stand. Everyone line up to pay for $15 popcorn. That'll be a line. No line for the actual movie. The bathroom, the concession stand, there'll be lines there. If the cinema is actually sold out, not Disney buying the tickets to sell out the theaters, it's gonna bomb. It's gonna bomb. It's gonna be glorious. There's only 3 Indiana Jones films. There's only 3. Indiana Jones and the Quest for the Missing Bedpan. Don't make fun of Harrison Ford. He just needed the money. No one thing. Anyone cares about geriatric Jones? Yeah, he looks smaller in the camera. He's a real big dog. Yep, and only 2.5 Ghostbuster films. 2.5? I mean, the last one was it Aftermath? Yeah, that was good. It was good. You're giving that a half rating? He stood up. I said, "Come here." He looks at me and he's like, "Lay down." Our dog hates being indoors. Hates it. But he also hates, right now it's summertime, so he wants to come in. He's got this one spot that he comes in the house and he just lays down. Hey. Hey, come here. Come here. God, come here. Ah. He comes with a handle. Look. Size of his head. Look. Oh. All right, bud. Go ahead. He's like, what the hell, man? Now he won't get out from underneath my desk. I can't push my chair in. That's cool. Oh yeah, no, he's when I tell you he's a big dog. Sarge is not wrong when you say bear. Got to be expensive feeding him. We just feed him the passing people that walk by our house. Fine. Mailman, UPS, Amazon. That's the only reason we order stuff from Amazon. He's a pushover. He's a good dog. He protects the animals and stuff outside. His name is Thor. Thor, by the way. As someone is asking what his name is, Kylo. His name is Thor. Go ahead, Thor. Trouble, bud. He's so nervous being in the house. Right, just have food come to him. Yeah. Yeah. That's like a horror flick. Wouldn't that be a good horror flick? It'd be like the new Cujo. You have a dog and all of a sudden, like, mailmen start disappearing and people don't know why they're disappearing. And this one lady just keeps ordering stuff from Amazon. And then all of a sudden, like, you find out that she's like, she doesn't order food because the food wasn't substance, right? It was actually people, right? Uber Eaten. That'd be amazing, right? Look, I'm telling you, I can come up with some good stuff. A horror flick. People don't know why they're missing. All the neighborhood kid, the main actor, the main protagonist in the film would be this little kid, say like 12 years old, right? Like a 12-year-old kid that he starts to tell his parents that the neighbor's dog is eating mailmen. And his parents don't believe him, like, you're crazy. And the kid's like, go outside and you need to play more video games, right? It could start off, right? It starts off with the kid playing video games. And his mom tells him to go outside. And because he goes outside, he starts to see these mailmen disappearing. And he notices that they keep going to the house, but they don't come out. Then you find out there's a dog. And he starts eating people. That's it. It's a great... look at the look my dog is giving me right now. He's like, bro, don't eat people, okay? Stop giving Hollywood ideas. I mean, if you see that movie, Stealth, I put it out there. Just know that today was the day I put that out there. Like, I've gone so far off the rails. Can I really go off the rails to my own show where I can talk about whatever I want? Not really. I like to call it adapting to the conversations and whatnot. Speaking of people that eat people, let's talk about Bobby Kotick. Bobby Kotick. Judge to Bobby Kotick. Why would he agree to sell Activision Microsoft if he's opposed to Game Pass. Multi-subscriptions. Obligation to honor wishes and shareholders who want to sell, plus he can agree to disagree with Microsoft. As Bobby Kotick also said that if the court proceeds and grants the preliminary injunction, the Activision board will walk from the deal. Kotick also says that Microsoft never consulted him or anyone at Activision before signing a 10-year Call of Duty deal for Nintendo. Do you see how scummy? Do you see how scummy Bobby is? Bobby's playing both sides here, right? He's playing both sides. He's like, how can I get two forces to hate each other more? Microsoft and Nintendo agreement states that they will bring a future of COD title to future Nintendo console. First of all, Bobby, it's more of a word of, yeah, we have a contract. When we do buy Activision, that this is the deal. They don't need to consult you for a deal with Nintendo for Call of Duty if and when they own it. If they never buy it, then they don't have the deal. But if they do buy you, you have no choice but to go along with the deal because it's no longer your company. Microsoft and Nintendo agreement states that they'll bring the future of Call of Duty titles to the future of Nintendo console. Bobby says no plans for COD on Nintendo, but they made a mistake passing on Switch 1 and would consider it. Like, do you hear this guy? Good old Bobby. Good old Bobby. No. Travis, Bobby Kotick is the definition of scumbag. It just shows a picture of Bobby next to the word scumbag. We could actually use, you're such a Kotick, right? Instead of saying you're scumbag, you Kotick. Like, you could just use Kotick's name. Yeah. You're such a Kotick. I find it funny. He's like, we never made that deal. Look here, dickhead. Do people not understand when they get bought out that you are no longer the owner of the company? Like, you're the boss until you get bought, and now you're under the boss, right? So if Microsoft signs the deals with Nintendo and Nvidia and says, you have our word, so we're signing contracts, so when we do get the company, that you have our contract here saying that we're going to put this on your console. Kotick's going, I never signed any deal about Call of Duty over on Nintendo Switch, but we'll think about it. Like, you know what I would love? I would love this, right? Kotick thinks he's got everyone by the balls. I would love, and I know this is not going to happen because Call of Duty makes way too much money and all the other ones, but wouldn't it be really funny as hell if Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox are just going, yeah, we don't need any more Activision Blizzard games? Where would they go? What would Activision Blizzard do? Right? Would they make their own console? What would Kotick do? They would make an Activision Blizzard Plus, and it would only be played on Luna. Oh, dick. Yeah. Do you imagine? All of them are just like, yeah, after this trial, you guys want to just like stop using Call of Duty altogether? We just ban it altogether. Sony's like, yeah, we're working on some live service games. I'm okay if you don't have it, then I'm okay. So let's just blackball them. Yeah, exactly, Kyle. They would just merge with Amazon. They were like, hey, can we buy Stadia? And we'll make Stadia. Stadia will now be Activision's console. That would be so freaking good. Can you imagine if they all blacklisted Kotick and none of the games or anything work anymore for the next system? He's just like, yeah, no, we're not going to let you make games for the next system. They just all just take them out. There was rumors, Jesse. There was rumors. I don't know if. No, it wasn't rumors. I take it back. It was Krebsy. Krebsy was saying that he thinks, I know it's a joke, but he goes, once Activision buys or is bought by Microsoft, Kotick's going to leave to go work for Disney. Can you imagine what that would look like? Then NVIDIA and NMDA are like, can't use our chipset. Right. Just, could you imagine if they just could he sue? Could he sue? He probably could sue. But if everybody was on the same page, he would have to sue everybody. That would be very expensive. That would be very expensive. That would be insane. Let's see what else we got. Let me see what else we got. Stealth just posted this. Developer publisher coming forward talking about Game Pass. Bohemian Interactive. Hello, gamers. We'd like to mention, for no particular reason, that Bohemian Interactive likes Xbox Game Pass quite a lot. As both a developer and a publisher, we see it as an excellent addition and at the same time a distribution to the classic and established game store model. Xbox Game Pass is an alternative that allows all players to become part of our DayZ gaming community, and we are quite happy this alternative exists. There you go. Signed, sealed, delivered. Bohemian coming out. That's it. The judge is going to see this and be like, I like how he says, we just like to mention for no particular reason. Is there a trial going on? For no particular reason. We just like to put it out there that we're really happy with Game Pass. Yeah. Right, Kylo? Yeah, but you got paid to say that. Yeah. Hey, can you guys make a tweet? Can you make a tweet while we're in court for no particular reason? Just so happens we're trying to buy this other company out, and they're talking about Game Pass is bad. And yesterday, in the documents, they said that Jim Ryan said that people that are Game Pass, that they're not happy. National Science Academy announcement happened this morning. What does that do, Dabstick? I don't know. What would they announce? The 5 people who play DayZ? 5 people? What's the player base of DayZ right now? $33,000. 33,000. Kylo. It's all Game Pass's fault again. So they like people playing their games who wouldn't otherwise have played them. Makes sense. They hope people will buy something based on that. Yeah. It all depends on who it works for at the time, right? I think there is I think down the line, I've talked about this for years, that once Xbox has enough first party titles and they put them on Game Pass, and mixed with the older games that come on, it's going to be harder and harder for independent developers and smaller game companies to be seen on Game Pass. You're going to have the same problem. And I'll go back to the old mentality of like Blockbuster or the old video stores, right? You would have a whole video store filled with thousands and thousands of movies, but everybody came in on Friday night, look at the brand new movies that were, 10 sections, and it would just be VHS or Betamax or whatever you want to call it on the wall, right? Nobody nobody is going to look at the other 1,000 movies. You're browsing, but it's really hard to find something that sticks out. Okay, there are people that go do it, but the masses don't do it. So the more and more crowded Game Pass gets with people's games, they're going to be harder for people to find. Happens with Netflix when you're scrolling through to try to find something, or any other streaming service, unless you know exactly what you're looking for. They came out and said Game Pass is bad for science. Okay. Whoever played it said it was absolute shit. I've never touched it. I actually quite liked it, Travis. I know a lot of people that loved it back in the day. It was one of the most successful games sold ever. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let's see. Most Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused with DayZ and PUBG. My bad. PUBG is the one I was thinking of. Because PUBG was 75 million sales. I was thinking of PUBG, not DayZ, which technically PUBG was because of DayZ. So my apologies. You are correct. Are willing to buy the games outright. This is why Xbox has to buy developers to force them on Game Pass. Sure, but also we just had this conversation before Chapter 8. We were talking about the sales of how Horizon Forbidden West and Last of Us 2 cost $220 and $212 million, right? And Xbox makes that money every single month for 12 months right now with just 25 million subscribers, 25 to 30 million subscribers. Now, obviously, that's not 100% full profit, but they are making the amount of money it takes to put a game out like Horizon Forbidden West and Last of Us that takes them 5 years to 7 years to make a game, and they're making that money every single month. So what would be easier? Taking money every single month and throwing it at a company that's worked on a game for 3 to 5 years, and they get a big chunk of change where they're going to make a profit off their money, off their game, and make them come on Game Pass, or let that company try to sell their game and see if they make more money than what Microsoft is offering. Right? Breaking news, Kathleen Kennedy says that Star Wars is ready to move on from George Lucas's headline from 17 hours ago, MovieWeb. Interesting. I get confused on games sometimes. Like sometimes I get confused on GTA, a playable game, not meant as a murder hobos. Hey, you can murder hookers as well. It doesn't discriminate. You can murder anybody in that game. Come on, Travis. No one knows if it's wrong or not yet, to be honest, but the new lab in Alaska detecting waves could help with it. For what did I miss something? The kind of gravitational waves and announced that they're detecting one now. Gravitational waves has a theory until the last couple of days. Now we have tangible proof. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. It sounds cool. I just don't know what you're talking about. No, a murder hobo is someone that enjoys a game because they are psychopaths in games that keep them from being in a padded room. I'm not in a padded room. I like Grand Theft Auto. I would literally just play Grand Theft Auto to blow up cars and stuff. I would sit in the middle of an intersection and see how much devastation I should do. But they had to buy Bethesda to do that, because if it's an independent developer, then it would choose sales. I don't know if they would choose sales. I think a lot of developers. I think in Bethesda's case, I think you're right. They would have taken the deal with Sony and then done what they've done. But I think a lot of developers at this time, it's really hard to make a game and then sell a game, right? And I think a lot of developers that are new in the industry, there's hundreds and thousands of smaller developers, they look at it and go, man, I would love to get my game on Game Pass, right? But at the same time, there's developers that are like, we don't need Game Pass because we have a structure, right? Like Bethesda's very successful, right? Very, very successful. And I also agree with you, Chapter, what you're saying, right? I do think there's a balance, though, of a company like Bethesda doesn't need a Game Pass to sell games. They're constantly selling 12 to 13 million copies of each of their games when they come out because they're known. Where I don't know. I'm trying to think of a smaller. People Can Fly, right? They made Outriders and didn't come anywhere close. Microsoft bought Bethesda to be much needed thorn in Sony's side. People missed that because Failgirl screams Sony. I think this is the way I look at it, Akuta Papa. Xbox was trying to play fair, right? They're like, okay, well, we'll just get all the systems to come out. And Sony's like, we're going to get exclusives. And they paid exclusives because they know they have to, because they don't have the money that Microsoft has, and they want to keep their lead. So they're like, how do we keep that? We pay for stuff to come out under our system. And Microsoft was just kind of fed up. They're like, all right, well, what about if we just throw money at it? Because we have a problem. We can't compete. We're trying to make Game Pass better. Sony's trying to buy exclusive for Bethesda. They're like, fuck it, let's just buy Bethesda. How much they cost? They're like, you ever have that uncle or aunt, right? That they're like, yeah, I'll take the donut up top. And they're like, you know what? Give me the whole rack. Give me the whole rack. And they buy it all, and then they just start handing them out to people. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like Phil's doing. Phil's like, fine, let's just buy Bethesda, and then let's just give it out to people, right? Let's just give Starfield out to people on Game Pass. And they're like, oh, that's a bold move, Phil. Okay, let's do that, right? They were tired of being pushed out because of timed exclusive. And now they're like, screw it, let's just buy the company, and then let's put it on our system. We'll put it on PC, and then we'll make the choice, right? Let's do it. The difference between Sony and Microsoft's business model is that Sony wants a time exclusive just for Sony, and then it comes out on PlayStation, or I'm sorry, PC down the road, where Xbox is going to put on Xbox and PC simultaneously at the same time. You can buy it, play it on Game Pass, but it's not coming out for PlayStation. And where PlayStation fans are upset is like, you said everything's for where we want to play it, but yet you make Starfield exclusive for Xbox and PC and cloud gaming, and you know what I mean? Like there's other parts there, but they don't look at it that way. They're looking at it not on PlayStation, so it's not everywhere. But you're the competition. It's different. Everybody else is not a competitor. Sony is the competitor, and they're trying to block out people. And they're like, well, we're going to buy it, and we're going to put it on more platforms than PlayStation is. Difference is Phil is buying the 3-day-old donuts and handing them out. No, he's not, Travis. Your analogies are terrible. Because the only way to stop Sony from picking out these exclusives and making it just for PlayStation, they're like, we have to buy it. We have to buy it. They don't want to get in a bidding war. They don't have to get in a bidding war. They don't want to sit here and be like, okay, Starfield, how much did Sony offer you? I can't say. I can't say, but it's a big number. And they're like, okay, we'll come back at 15. They're like, well, all right, well, they came back with a better offer. There's like, you know what? Screw it. What do you want? Just tell me what you want. 7 billion? Great. There you go. Here's cash. 7 billion. Thank you. And they move on. It's a $1 trillion company to a $1 billion company, which is a huge difference. Considering a single Bethesda game sells about 10 times more than a single Final Fantasy game, says a lot about Bethesda. Right. And this is what I was talking about years ago when I said that Microsoft wants to buy Destiny or Bungie. And I said they stopped buying Bungie because their price was too expensive, which we did find out later at a later date that it was true. And they wanted to buy Bethesda because the price that they asked for Bungie was around $7 to $10 billion at the time. And instead, they decided to buy Bethesda for 7.2, which then brought down the price of Bungie, which then Sony picked up. Okay, because they were asking for way too much money. Right? Discord did the same thing. Discord asked for 7. Microsoft gave them 12. They said no, and now they're valued at like 15. They gave them $5 million more than they were asking. They're like, no, we don't want the deal. So they could raise their value. Microsoft directly to ZeniMax and past Bethesda. Yeah, because Bethesda is part of them. So they just bought the whole company and said, now you're us. And this is what I don't understand. When you get bought out by a company and Pete Hines and everybody is like, well, you're under new ownership. What they decide for you to do is what they decide to do. If you don't like it, you could leave the company. That's the way business works. And the company with millions of players per month baked in on at least 3 games. With people still waiting to buy anniversary editions of Skyrim. Great investment. Yeah, it's a much better investment. I think because Microsoft, and again, we won't know this, but I think because Microsoft bought ZeniMax Bethesda, Sony got a better deal on Bungie. But I don't think they own outright, do they? They have a clause that they still have. They can break off or whatever. Let's see. Company based in Washington, a subsidiary of Sony Interactive. The company is established in one. I think it's driving Sony acquisition, and the gaming company has created a sci-fi. Now, I want to look up. Sony umbrella. Bungie will continue to independently publish and creatively develop our games. Bungie CEO Pete Parsons said in the blog post from the original announcement of the acquisition. I'm sure they have a stipulation like anything else. $3.6 billion is a lot better than 7 to 10. I'll tell you that. Oh, 100% crowded. I've speculated this for years. Bungie has a money problem. They do not know how to manage their money. They don't. They constantly are like, when they were with Microsoft, they screwed it. Then when they went to Activision, they screwed it. They're always when they were by themselves, they kind of screwed it. There's a money problem there. I mean, hell, they built a 280,000 square foot studio that they didn't move into for like 3 years. a lot of lights to keep on. Let's see how much stuff goes to stupid stuff. I'm sure a lot. I'm sure a lot. Now that the fear is that Bungie is working on 2 games, they'll leave D2 in the dust. Sure, sure. And you better believe, Dupless, when Marathon comes out, if it starts to make more money than D2, then that's exactly where they'll leave it, in the dust. Because Destiny is a, you know, they've already ridden that horse till it's dead, and they got to move on to the next Destiny. He said they have all the money they will ever need. Of course, Crowded. But when I said they mismanaged their money, right? The money they made off the first Destiny alone, they could fund the remaining of Destiny for the entirety of Destiny. Give me 1 second. I gotta put my dog back outside. My room smells like dog now. And Diablo's everywhere too, but Sony does do their fair share of marketing too. They're supposed to do. Every time I go see a movie, I always see a Sony PlayStation commercial. Right? If it was Call of Duty on PlayStation, or if it's Horizon, or if it was Last of Us, or Trying makes so much money from subscribers they can afford to flop every game. Why not? And also the handicap. I think what they made is hella kind. And bombarded with ads because of the simply reason. The initial ads are placed at the fans of the game. After the game releases, the ads change places and go into media. For more masses, since they interact with all the what we do. Travis says, question 30. Did you ever watch the movie Dave and Kevin Kline? Also, why are you letting Thor out? Did the mailman walk by? No, he that's where he we have ducks and cows and stuff outside. The reason I brought him inside, Travis, is because we had pest control come. They spray. So I don't want him, right? So you have to wait. Once they spray, it's like 15 minutes or so, and then he goes back outside. But yeah, he goes outside. Yeah, he's an outside dog. We let him in when it's like super hot outside and stuff like that, and he comes in and enjoys the air conditioning. But he loves being outside. Like when I let him inside, because there was a guy outside, he was literally whining because he was like, "There's someone outside," and he doesn't like being inside. There's times that he comes inside because he wants to, because he's too hot, but for the most part, he wants to be outside. That's his job. That's what he does. We have a whole food chain outside and protectors. We have cats, dogs. Well, dog. We have dog that protects all the animals. We have cats that take care of the rodents, reptiles, all that stuff. We have ducks that roam the property to eat the bugs, the natural pest control. We got cows. We got a donkey that protects the cows. My dogs are Velcro dogs. Just wanted to go there where I go. Oh, I thought you meant that like Velcro, because did you know that's how Velcro got made? Chapter 8. Did you know that's how Velcro got made? Guy and his dog were walking through like the brush, and they had those little things like stick to their hair. And then he designed Velcro because of a dog. Man's best friend helped create Velcro. I let them out to pee, and then they move where I can't see them. And they just stand there at the door looking at me like, yeah. Yeah, I think it was like I think it was a Labrador, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Right here it says, George D. Mistral got an idea for Velcro from those little stickers, right? Caught in his clothes and his dog's fur. During a walk in the woods in 1948, Swiss engineer and outdoorsman caught hundreds of birds in his clothes and his dog's fur. He wondered how they attach themselves. So, so that's how he created Velcro. Pretty cool. I like useless information like that. I forget where I learned it too. I was at some museum or something. Oh, you know where it was? I know where it was. I took my son to a science. We have memberships to a science museum, and they had an exhibit for like invention type stuff, and we go there all the time. All information is useless unless we share it. It's true. That's the most logical thing you've said, Travis. You're getting smarter being in this chat. You said something like, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I was like, wow, that's actually really good. And now you've said this. This is we've made great strides together. Great strides. Yeah, Velcro is I believe it's called hook and it means like hook and ladder or hook something like that. Let's see. Let's see. Fastener of clothing, but it means like a hook or something. Hook and loop. Hook and loop. That's what it means. Velcro is hook and loop. My mentality, Titan, is if I'm learning something new every single day. If I'm not learning something new every single day, then I'm not living correctly. I love reading. I love learning useless information. I take videos. I'm not a very good reader, if you guys can't tell, but I love watching videos and I absorb everything. Well, I say useless information, Sarge, because it's like learning magic. Unless you're a professional magician, like doing a coin trick at a party is like every once in a while when you use it, or telling jokes or something like that. They're like useless for majority of the time that you're doing it or not use it. Right. Right. Sharks keep swimming. If I don't keep learning, then there's something wrong. And I told my son this the other day. We watched a video, actually pretty bad video, but I'll describe it to you, right? There was these kids that were playing. I don't know where it was. They were playing at a garbage can. Okay. It was in an internal city. I don't know what city it was. Probably saw it on Twitter or whatever, right? But I showed my son this. And there's these kids that told one of their friends to get in the garbage can. Okay. And they showed inside the garbage can that had little pressure plates inside. So when you lift up the top, you throw your garbage bag in, you close the lid. When you hit the lid, it knows it locks and then it opens up the bottom of the garbage and then it drops the garbage out. Well, they told one of their friends to get into the garbage can, and I watched this and I saw it and I went, okay, I'm going to show my son this. Now my son's 8 years old. And I showed it to him. He's like, why is he getting in the garbage can? I said, watch. And then he disappeared. He's like, where'd he go? I said, he went into a trash chute somewhere. Right? He's underground somewhere. He's like, why would he do that? I go, these are things that we ask every single day. I go, the reason I'm showing you this is so someone did something stupid and now you've learned not to do that. Right? And he goes, oh. He goes, is the kid okay? I go, I have no idea. It's the internet. They don't tell you. I said, I'm sure he is because they didn't say otherwise. Okay. But I take opportunities of other people doing stupid things as a lesson to learn. Like, you could stick your finger in a light socket with a fork, and I'm not going to do the same thing. I'm going to learn my lesson from you doing something stupid. Show the game's first trailer into an unplayable game looking for the Redfall. I like Penn and Teller's show though. If you can see if they can figure it out. And I like the way they do it because they don't tell you how they figured it out. They're like, we know, and the magician knows that they know because of the way he says it. What idiot would stick a fork in a live voltage? Type that into YouTube and you let me know. But in 5 years, because I studied 5 hours a day every day. The problem with people that don't have a want to learn is they want to learn. There's a lot of things they can do. I learned several engineering applications, aerospace and electronics in 5 years because of 5 hours a day. I wanted to do this last year when I was in Carline, Kudapapa, not learning electrical engineering, but I wanted to learn a second language. I want to learn the second language. Okay. And I was like, while I'm in Carline, I go, I should learn a different language. And every day while I'm in Carline, I should practice like 10 minutes a day and just learn something. Like listen to something in different language, just so I could learn Spanish or Japanese or Chinese or something. I think maybe this year I'll do that. I think this year in Carline, I will try to learn a new language. Duolingo. Is that a? I got to figure out what's the best way to do it. I don't know. I don't know if I should just listen to someone speak Spanish and then just can't do it. I feel it's the same way for me. I can't do it, but I want to. I want to learn, so I was like, I'll give it a shot. Can't listen or speak. My mom spoke Italian to me my entire life, like when I was younger. Can't speak it. Took Spanish for like 5 years and can't do it. Can't do it. I don't understand what it is. Took 3.5 years of Spanish in high school. Can't speak. Save my life. That's what I'm saying. I live in Florida, right? I worked for Telemundo. Okay. Didn't speak a word of Spanish. Okay. I worked for Telemundo for 1.5 years. And I could understand Spanish when they were speaking because you get the gist of stuff, but I could not speak one word of it. You can easily speak Italian. Shut up your face. Hey, forget about it. No, that's not Italian. I have a problem because when I was born, I actually had I was like deaf. But when I was a kid, it was like they had to do some surgery on my ear when I was an infant. So I have problems hearing certain people. So growing up, people thought I was a really good listener. Okay, because when someone talks to me, I stare at them and I look at their lips. Right, I'm not deaf. I can hear really well. Right, but I have this issue where if I don't see your lips moving and you say something, I can't distinguish it sometimes. So when I talk to somebody, I listen. So growing up in middle school and high school, when a girl would talk to me, they're like, "Oh, Mike listens so well. He's always in." I'm like staring at them because I'm not being rude. I have to listen to them. I have to look at them. So I got to see what their lips are doing just in case I miss something. And a lot of people would get upset with me because I would say, "What? What did you say?" And because they turned or blocked their mouth and I couldn't. So I learned over the years to kind of trick myself and people are like, "Oh, he listens so well." Yeah, that's why I have a lot of problems with when people speak to me. It doesn't go in the first time. It kicked me in the ear because he dove into the pool. Oh, yeah, those incidental accidents. Yeah, I would like to pick up Italian. I think I would like to speak Japanese. Should have throttled him. Just said it was an accident. Yeah, my fist came across your face. Sorry. An accident. Didn't know you were there. No, I don't, Dapstick. I like how Sarge is trying to tell me how my ear works. Please tell me my struggles as I was growing up in school. I got taught Japanese in elementary school. All I remember is how to write my name and count to 10. Yeah, I can say a couple words in Spanish. That's about it. I'm looking up right now to see if there's any kind of news on Twitter as we're talking here. My wife's left-handed. My wife's left-handed. She tells me problems all the time. That's funny though. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of things with that left-hand people can't do because of it. It's just weird. Isn't that weird? It's because left-handed people, I think, are the minority, right? So they just force people. They actually force people that are left-handed to be right-handed. Here's a stat I want to look up. Lefties make up 10% of the general population. 10%. They made up right on right-handed desk. Yeah, my wife, on certain things that she does. She's like ambidextrous on certain things. And she's a hell of a typer. I don't know if that's because she's left-handed and how to use her, you know what I mean? Like I'm not a very good typer. She is like, it's amazing. She could like write like 3 book reports at the same time. She's super fast. That's true. Maybe that will happen. They made us write on right-handed desks. What's a right-handed desk? What's a right-handed desk? A desk is a desk. What's a right-handed desk? What? Explain to me what a right-handed desk is. I isn't a desk just a desk? I'm ambidextrous when we kick, right? I'm right-handed. I throw right-handed, but I kick with my left foot. Think of the middle of the desk that are attached to chairs. Okay, I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna look this up. Oh, okay. I got you. You're talking about the ones that are attached and they have that like the L bracket, like the L shape. I got you. See, I was thinking of a desk like this, right? I thought you were thinking of a desk like this. I was like, a desk is a desk. How is a desk left-handed or right-handed? It's just a flat surface, right? But you are talking about these guys. You're talking about these guys. Gotcha. I'm on the same page now. On the same page now. Yeah, I don't think I saw this one. I don't think I've ever seen a left-handed desk in my schools. I don't think I've ever seen that. See, this is really educational. This is what you get here at 30NSG. Okay, we talk about video games and we go off into some tangents about learning about left-handed desks and about Velcro. You're not getting this anywhere else. Not getting anywhere else. You came here for a story, and then we start talking about random shit. So do you guys that are left-handed, do you do that whole, like, over the thing and right, like, over? You know what I mean? So you don't smudge your work? I only come here to learn. Well, you don't know what you're going to learn. It's a surprise. It's like Christmas. You unwrap a gift here, and then you might learn something. You just hold a pen higher. Oh, I got you. You hold it up higher so you don't smudge. So you don't push your hand on the table. You like. So your arms must be really strong because I know I know it sounds ridiculous, but when you write, like when I write, when I write, do you like place a pinky or something to keep it up, or do you just like how do you do it? You know what I mean? Like if you're up higher, I just put my hand on the page because I'm right-handed. That's right. Come back tomorrow for an introduction of quantum physics and how it impacts lefties. We have so many random things in this this show. YouTube's like, what is this guy talking about now? How are we supposed to send people to this channel if he just talks about random shit? Oh, I got you. So you're like this. If you're writing, you're not like this. You're like this. So you write higher up. I can't write. I try. I hate the touchpad. I use my iPad a lot. I use it a lot for art programs and whatnot. I hate writing on an iPad. For some reason, on paper, I can just write perfect and whatnot, but I can't unless obviously there's like a paper lines that are there. I have so many problems writing on an iPad. 30 and still expanding my horizons. Patent pending. It'll be sad the day that your chat is spammed. You can't read anymore. Yeah, I think about that sometimes, Dabstick. But I've been doing this for so long. I don't think that chat's gonna get there. I'll be honest with you. And then if it does get to that point, it's like, do you let people that are not subscribed talk with them? And I'm talking like if I have like 1,000 people watching and the chat's just moving, right? You only let people that are members talk. But then it would get to a point where there's so many members, then you still can't see it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Because I watch certain channels on YouTube that they don't reach chat at all. And then when people do the super chats and stuff like that, that's what they read. It's weird. You have to expand. You have to change and adapt over time. Right? You pay to complain. It's exactly right. You know what I mean? Like, because think about this. I'm having a conversation with 27 potential people at once. So I'm like jumping back and forth. Most of you are having a conversation just with me. Some paywall interaction. Yeah, and I think they have to, right? Because they get so big, they have to do that. Speaking of Bobby, well, I appreciate the good vibes, Dabstick, but I'll be honest, I don't my content. I don't know if it'll ever get there. I watch some of the content out there, and the people, the masses out there are not looking for what I'm doing. Can someone explain to me what the hell the Grimace shake trend is? I have no idea what this is. I know who Grimace is. I've heard all you need to do is show your tits. Maybe. If I show my tits right now, Chapter 8, I bet you we lose 25 people. we lose 25 people. $20 and up super chats. I mean, Jesus Christ. If you do that, it's indecent exposure. I don't think it is. There's no other news. Kill that cat. Saw a cat jump on someone's computer and knock it off the table. Okay. Bro forgot about Bethesda and his other orders that he gave to devs to skip PlayStation. Oh, he's talking about the guy who said he doesn't want exclusives on consoles. See, this person's taking out of context though. Nadal is saying that he doesn't want to do exclusives, but because the market leader is doing exclusives, they have to compete with exclusives. That's what he's talking about. I appreciate that, crowd. Tim is live right now. Doc is live right now. So many very good entertainers. QXC on Kick. I try to watch QXC. I don't get it. Well, I appreciate that. I like watching Doc. I like watching certain people for certain things. I'm old. Okay. I'm not this kid that's doing like 15, 16-hour streams and saying stupid jokes and screaming. I'm not. What's that one guy that just like screams and just does all those like the big eyebrows and the I forget what his name is. What? I can't believe, you know, they go over the top type of energy. That's not me. I would be exhausted. I would be exhausted. I gotta go deal with an 8-year-old after this. No, not Dreamcast guy. His name's Speed, something like that. I forget his name. He sets off fireworks in his goddamn house and burns his house down and some shit. You know what I mean? I mean, they're like millionaires now. No, Quinn's the Australian guy that plays. His name is Dumbass. I know that guy. I know that guy. That's it, Kylo. So show speed, something like that. Switch successor with the powerful as a PlayStation 4. Do you hear this, guys? The next Nintendo. You guys ready for this? The next Nintendo is going to be as powerful as the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox. Crazy Uncle Nintendo does it again. They're like, yeah, we're just going to make the next system as powerful as a 10-year-old system 10 years ago. We're going to make the next Switch as powerful as the system that came out 10 years ago. And they're going to sell like hotcakes. Exactly what it's going to be. They can literally do anything they want. Nintendo, do anything they want. Of course you're going to buy one, Kylo. Switch 2. You know, that's another thing that people don't realize. I know I'm kind of, you know, blessed. I have 2 Xboxes, right? I have an Xbox Series X and I have an Xbox Series S. Most people don't own multiple consoles of the same console in their house, right? Obviously, there's a small percentage that does. People were buying multiple Switches for their family. All because of Animal Crossing. Because they didn't want to play Animal Crossing, because when you play Animal Crossing, you're just like following your friend. You have to have your own so you can come visit their island. I only have 1 Switch, but we were at one point debating if we should pick up 2 more. Right? If you have 2 Xbox, that automatically makes you an Xbox. No, Xbox. No. It makes me a really good dad. That's all it makes me. You guys can't hear my son right now. He's on video call with his grandfather, and he sets up his iPad at the television set, okay, and he's playing Fall Guys right now while Grandpa's watching him, and he's having a blast. Okay, he was also playing a car racing game earlier. I think Hot Wheels earlier, right? I don't get why people think Nintendo can't sell consoles with high price tags. They charge out the nose for accessories. Some of the handhelds didn't even come with AC adapters. Right. See, this is why I have 2 PlayStation 5s and 2 Xboxes. Otherwise, I'll be divorced or snap. There you go. Right. Because if someone's playing on your Xbox and you want to play, you need another Xbox or PlayStation. I toy with the idea of buying multiple Switches just to trade Pokemon to myself. That's great, Jones. That's great. I'm getting old. I have a Switch hooked up to my TV, and I get eye strain after a couple of hours of game time. Do you know why I only stream for like 2-hour times? When I'm done at night, when I'm doing the 8 to midnight, when I get out of this chair, I am stiff as fuck. I cannot sit in this chair for longer. Right? My ass hurts. I broke my tailbone on my 30th birthday, and I always sit, right? I always sit on this. Look, I sit on one of these things, so my tailbone doesn't get destroyed. Okay? I'm not fucking 20 anymore. I can't sit here for long periods of time. When I'm not here, I'm out doing a bunch of things. Get like eye strain, wrist hurts, knee hurts. I had another chair, Dupless. This chair is actually more comfortable than the actual office chair I used to have. I still have my first chair that I used. It's worse. It's worse than this. We as human beings shouldn't be sitting as much as we do. We shouldn't. Virgin Galactic just launched their first commercial flight to space, charging $450,000 per ticket. Who's coming with me? Is it are you just going around the planet? Like what's the end destination? Are you just going in a circle? Like No Man's Sky? Like I came in, I'm going around the planet. Get a standing desk. I have these desks that I can they actually raise up. Like I actually have here, look. You can't see it, but I can actually they actually go up. It's a hand crank on my actual desk that actually can go up. Each of these desks, I got these for like a great sale. Here, check this out. Right? If I can, right? Like this comes out. Right? Right? Crank desk, yeah. So there was a call center going out of business. There was a call center. Hold on, now I messed up my camera. There was a call center going out of business. And each of these desks, I have 3 of them. Makes a big bracket around. They sell for like $1,200. I got them all for like $200. So he does have legs. I do. Yeah. I'm skinny. Let me tell you, lazy boy, big and tall, heavy duty office chairs, my man. Both of my cats fit in here with me. Most comfortable desk chair ever. What's it called? Is it called lazy? Is it called a lazy boy? Big and tall series. Like recliners. Hold on a sec. You're talking like this stuff? Oh yeah, look at her. At this point, I'm not even, I would just fall asleep. What? That's pretty cool. Now I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole of this. I should sit on a cinder block. I'll be honest with you. I should sit on a cinder block. That way, forces myself to not sit here. I don't want a more comfy chair. I don't want to sit here for longer than I have to. What are we doing here? Hold on a second. Memory foam cushion for very heavy people. But my bony ass appreciates. I have a bony ass. I have a bony ass. That's one thing that my father and mother did not give me good DNA. I have a bony ass. I want a recliner desk chair for my gaming room. Looks like it would be comfy for this, but exactly. You show up and I go live. Dabstick, I'm just laid back. Like I can lean back in this. I went to get a recliner for my gaming room. Ended up with an office chair for my home office. I'll take a look at it. I'll have to do some. I'll have to do some research on them. So the person snoring makes white noise for you, Travis, and you fall asleep. So if you hear a person snoring, you just get instantly tired and fall asleep. You guys see the GDP win for handheld? No, have not. I've delivered those Herman Miller gaming chairs. They cost $1,500 to $3,000 depending on which one you get. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. But it has to be that real snoring, not fake stuff. My real snore sounds like a fake snore. Huh? How about that? How about that? My wife's like, you snore. I'm like, I don't tell you what you do. You gotta take everything. You gotta take everything that came with it, good and bad. Off topic. If anyone interested in the new Indiana Jones movie, no, not me, Tiny. I don't know. Here it says it's the last day of the preliminary injunction hearing just started. Technically, it's not the last court session because the court will handle other business between 1:30 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. Closing arguments. The case will be delivered at 2:30 p.m. The FTC is now trying to imply that Microsoft financial model for ZeniMax deal, like the one for Activision deal, codename whatever, assumed no platform changes, and that this means Microsoft can't be trusted not to make platform changes for key Activision titles. We're on the last day of the hearing, at the start of which the FTC claimed to have, in other words, a mountain of evidence that they've been able to show only a small part of it here. We still haven't seen anything that would entitle them to the deal-killing injunction. I think they're just stalling. I really do. I think they're just stalling at this point. Yeah, I'm not going to watch it ever. I'm never going to watch the Dial of Destiny. I didn't watch Crystal Skull, and I will not watch the Dial of Destiny. Indiana Jones 1, 2, and 3 to me is like the perfect trilogy. That's all you needed. I wouldn't watch it if it was the only thing playing on the airplane. I would rather close my eyes and go to sleep. You think they're stalling? I do. I think the FTC is stalling. I think that I don't think they have enough evidence of what they've said to stop the deal from going through. Clearly, you just watch The Creature on the Wing. Twilight Zone. The first Indiana Jones has a bad plot and was pointless as hell. Raiders of the Lost Ark? Bad plot? I mean, we each have our own. You think Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark had a bad plot? Playoffs? Talk about the playoffs? Can you believe it cost $20 million to make the first Indiana Jones movie? Yeah. Akuda Papa says some pretty good things. This is the worst thing he's ever said. Yeah, yeah. They've lost every major case that they've done recently in this field. So I don't know. I don't know if they'll. I still think it's going to go through. I still think it's going to go through. I don't want it to go through, but I think it's going to go through. Let's see, this is of 6 minutes. FTC and Microsoft, all news from the big Xbox courtroom battle. Let's see. For the mobile gaming prospect, Microsoft acquired Bethesda. Okay, we already know this. Day 3 included testimony. Day 4 was one of the big Activision CEO, Bobby Kotick. And Day 5 is starting today, and it's finally part of the hearing. Yeah, that's... Okay, Bethesda content first, better, or best on Xbox. We're now hearing about the Jeffries investment meeting, November of 2020, where Tim Stewart talks about not pulling Bethesda games, but the FTC reads out what it said. It says we want the content in the long run to be either first or better or best, and then pick your differentiated experience on the platforms. We want Bethesda content to show up on the best on our platform. The FTC wants Stewart to explain first, better, and best. He says first could be like Starfield, and the FTC says better could mean better resolution. Resolution is one thing, frame rate one thing, and was pretty vague. He was being pretty vague. Stewart argues that showing up in Game Pass could be a better experience, but Stewart also said previously that the better could be showing up in resolution. He also said, I suspect you'll continue to see us push for the first, better, or best approach on the platforms. This questioning clearly leans into FTC and the Sony's concern that Call of Duty could be degraded on PlayStation, or that the game could be held back for competitors' platform. I'd like to make a statement about Call of Duty real fast, right? So let's just say Call of Duty doesn't get purchased, okay? But Sony then gets the exclusivity for a certain period of time, and now it's made better on their platform. Isn't that making it worse for the other platform as well? Because they're making it better for their platform because they've paid money to make it better because of the controller and whatnot that's on that platform. They make Call of Duty better for their platform. Isn't that undermining, making it less better for Xbox? Now, I get it because PlayStation doesn't own Xbox or Call of Duty. So Call of Duty is making it better for PlayStation, but not making it as good for Xbox, right? So now Call of Duty gets bought by Xbox, and now they make it better for Xbox, but not PlayStation. Is that the same? Isn't that the same? FTC blocks the deal because Starfield is only 30 frames. No developer in the right mind is going to grade a game. The cost is making it triple a game. Yeah, or like only porting a PC years later and having performance issues. It's not the same. It's just equal. 2 weeks until go to Montreal Comic-Con with the family. Oh, nice, Stealth. 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Texas and Wisconsin. We're going to Texas, Austin, Texas for 3 days, and then we're going to Minnesota for 2 days, and then we're going to Wisconsin for 3 days. So I won't be streaming from July 18th, 25th. Most AAA games projects are developed by PlayStation 5 and ported out to other platforms and never going to be the best quality of that game. But Ryan is worried that Xbox games ported to PlayStation 5 will not be great. Right. Which is true, because he said that he would not let them get the early access to find out how to build for their system because of trade secrets. Well, it's not my vacation. It's not my vacation, Travis. My wife's vacation. I just happen to be coming along. My wife works really hard. She works really hard. I take care of a kid and stream a couple hours. The grand scheme of things. Xbox games ported to PlayStation 5 may play well, but have minor performance problems because of lack of optimization. Am I living the dream? I'm living the dream, Robert. That's your goal? What, to not work? I mean, I am working. I want to work. I actually want to open up a business. Right? I would like this to go somewhere, but I don't think this is going anywhere. I think this is just, it is what it is. Being a stay-at-home dad, I struggled with it for a long time. My son's going to be 9 in August. It took me a long time to get used to being home, the stay-at-home dad. I've been working since I was 13. I still struggle every once in a while. Right? Like if this, what I'm doing, because my son's not going to always need me, right? Like pretty soon, I have maybe a year left, basically, right? And if this doesn't get more beneficial, like me putting more hours in or whatever I have to do to make it more entertaining, to get, more ad revenue, more viewers, whatever. If it doesn't pan out, I got to go back to like work, right? Because I won't be a stay-at-home dad anymore. My son won't need me in a couple years. He'll be off on his own doing stuff. So I'm 45 now. So it's like, what profession am I going back in? Even if I go back into my actual profession of being in the film industry, who's going to give me a job back at, other people have been working up the ranks, getting there, and I'm back at the bottom rung again. I don't want to put I don't want to put 10 years back in to try to get back up to where I was. Right? So try transportation, no lie, bro. Driving's good money. Transportation, like what? Uber driver? You talking about like limousine or something like that? I gave one girl the option for me to stay at home. Dad didn't take it, and now I'm much happier with my current life. My wife is having a life crisis now. Is she going for like trying to go back to work? Stealth? Is that what she's doing? I suck at writing, Travis. Suck at writing, like physical writing. Like I'm an ideas guy. I'm an ideas guy. If I had someone that could write stuff, it would be a good match. Being home for COVID for a few years, a few months was wonderful. Hey, I'm glad. Put that. You didn't have a kid. You said, right, Robert? You said you're having your first kid. I had a completely different experience than you. I had a completely different experience than you. Did you see the India? Okay, hold on. No, I didn't see the Jones. I don't think I did see it. I'm looking up. I'm scrolling up. Yeah, I didn't need Jones at all. If Indiana had very been there, anything still would have happened. The whole story is pointless. Well, it's not pointless. The reason that you have the story, you're seeing it through the eyes of Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is just the the thing to take you through the story, right? If Indiana Jones was there, uh, who would you be following, right? You and your wife are perfect and come up with the ideas, and she types them. It's funny you say that, Big. We are going through a change in our life. Our chapter is changing, and we are talking about starting a business together, working together to make a business. I will add the reason 837 to not have kids below the expenses and them shoving sticky fingers of potato chip bags. I loved not having a kid, but I love more having a kid, chapter 8. But I understand 100% people that don't want to have kids. Works at home, customer service, fed up with it. Life, work, balance. The shit's right now. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. My wife's going through the exact same thing with her job right now. Kind of over it. Do I have something in mind for a business already? I do have an idea for a business. You want to hear it? You want to hear what my business is? I've talked about it before on stream. I want to open up. You guys are going to laugh at me. Right? I've looked at different businesses and what expenses are and what, like, I don't want a job. I don't want a business where I have lots of inventory. I don't want to manage all that shit. Right? I want to have something that brings families together for a low price and entertains people and they have fun. Okay, I want to open up a coffee place, but inventory and all that shit, I don't want any of that. Right? I want to open up a mini golf course. I want to open up a mini golf course, and I'm not going to tell you what I want to do with it, but I want to make it different than any other mini golf course that's ever been created. Kind of look like a bed and breakfast guy. No. Right? I want a mini golf course that doesn't age over time. Okay. We have land. I just need investors. So, but I want to set something up because a mini golf course is expensive, like high end up front, like the ground, the structures, the AstroTurf, all that stuff, right? But the tail end, it makes money. Where I live right now, there is 7 schools, 7 within a 2-mile radius. High school, middle schools, private schools, charter schools, all that stuff. Okay. Where we live, there is 0 things to do. The closest thing to do around us is 15 miles away. Right? 15 miles away. They are building a whole bunch of stuff over here. Houses, homes, all the stuff surrounded by us. And there's nothing for anybody to do. And there's no land to build anything to do except for where we are. So, yeah, we live in Orlando. Like, people can go down to iDrive, and there's plenty of mini golf courses and stuff there. There's nothing north of downtown Orlando and stuff like that, and a Disney World. So that's my business idea. I want to open up a mini golf course that I can run with the family. Doesn't take a lot of employees. Doesn't have inventory. I don't have any kind of I want to work with I got to look at the logistics of it, but I don't want to sell food cuz I'm not all about making all the money. What I want to do is I want to bring in, we have great local food truck companies, stuff that do little places. So I would build a section on the property where food trucks would come and drive. They would sell their food. So we wouldn't have to worry about any of the, we would have to worry about the insurance and whatnot on the property. But I wouldn't have to worry about cooking food, building a kitchen, any of that. Right? Wouldn't have to worry about any of that. And I would help them bring business because we would bring in the attraction where people could play the games and it wouldn't be super expensive, right? The other guys charge like $15 and Tiger Woods charges $25, right? Right? For all day. Like, I want mine to just be a place where the locals and stuff can come out and hang out and help the locals that have food trucks and want to make more money, right? Give them a business, give them a place to be. I'm a guy that believes in.
Animal.
I don't. Thank you very much, Stealth, for the $5
Let's
super
get
chat.
30 NSG mini gold off the ground.
Mini golf. Yeah, mini golf off the ground. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Right. So that is my dream. That is my next chapter in my life that I want to do. Yeah, there is nothing. Add go-karts. Go-karts, I used to work at an amusement park, Titan. So there's a lot of expenses inside go-karts. Go-karts break down a lot. Even the electric ones break down a lot. You got to get more employees to work it. We already have a petting zoo. We already have a petting zoo. Mini golf with farm animals. No, I don't want it themed after anything. Maybe a skateboard park. They just opened one 2 miles down the road. It just opened. They've been working on it for like 5 years. Yeah, we were going to go check it out. Grand opening was yesterday. Yeah, grand opening was yesterday. Mine is a taxi, but only for hospitals, and get your registered and transportation provider with the Medicaid and Medicare. And also bill your state maximum taxi fare. And does not care price. Interesting. What's my son's favorite game? Minecraft. I don't know why I thought about that for a second. Minecraft is my son's favorite game. My son, if you ask him anything about Minecraft, he'd talk your ear off, man. He could teach a college course in master class of Minecraft. He knows everything. He watches videos, builds stuff. He knows everything about inside and out. He loves Minecraft. Holy Christ, 12:30? Man, talking about nothing. Passes the time. I gotta go build I gotta go extend my duck house. What I'm gonna do right now. I gotta put a door on the side. Build a ramp for them. Because now they've been inside the thing for 2 months. And now we've been letting them out every day for the last like week or two. But now I gotta build a door for them. So on that note, I do appreciate you guys coming out, hanging out with us tonight. We do not have. I don't think we're going to do GXG. Sarge got his computer back. He hasn't let me know if it's working or not yet. But we probably are not going to do GXG tonight. We are going to do AEW. And if we do a GXG tonight, okay, if we do a GXG tonight, after we'll do AEW. But I'm pretty sure we're not going to do any Generation X Gaming podcast tonight. We are doing AEW tonight. Me and Sarge are going to be playing it on the Xbox Series X. We're going to let you guys know. We're going to go through all the menu systems. We're going to show you the customization. We're going to have some matches. We're going to play some AEW tonight. So if you guys like that, 8 p.m. tonight, please make sure you come out, hit that like button. Hit the like button right now. If you like our small little community here, we talk about random stories, talk about life stuff, talk about gaming stuff, just having a conversation with you guys. I do appreciate you coming out. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your afternoon or day or evening, wherever you are. And I'll see you guys tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Peace.